Yeah, I think, as Farhan said too, San Francisco's a star power town. So I think we need some players, one, two, or whatever, that the fans really identify with. Whether it was, the Willie Mays days, the Barry Bonds days, Buster Posey. Star power is important to San Francisco. And having said that, it's easier said than done. But I think we can start with that. Then maybe a little better defense, a little more athleticism. With the stolen bases last year, with the new rules and so forth. Maybe try to enhance that a little bit.
Since the last time you spoke to the press conference, what have you learned about the roster since then? What do you like that maybe fans wouldn't even realize that you can go in? What do you like or dislike?
The young pitching that we have. And pitching's obviously really important. So, not only do we have some guys at the top, you expect, some guys to, Cobb get healthy, Descalfini, come healthy again now too. And then some of these younger kids, the Harrisons and Wins and guys like that. I think that when you look at our organization a little bit deeper, it's the young pitching that you look at. But you know what? I like the team as is. Now I know we're looking to add and we want to add, but Michael Conforto's year off of surgery now. Usually that next year, is a little bit easier. A healthy Handiger's a really good player. Scrimpsey's a good player. Flores is a good player. Davis is a good player. I mean, we have a lot of good players. So, adding to that certainly makes us better. But I do like the group that we have here.
How much of the roster have you gotten a chance to talk with or meet in person?
Most of, and met a few of the guys at Papago. Some of the guys, Yaz was there that day, Webb was there that day, Cobb was there. I was there for some meetings for a couple days. And then, talk to as many guys as I possibly can.
Have you learned anything about those guys?
Yeah, just, you form opinions about guys from the other side. And if you're around long enough, typically you get a pretty good idea. I probably talked to Yaz quite a bit, and we talk more about his walk-up song, his Led Zeppelin walk-up song, than anything else. So that resonates with me.
Bob, you obviously remember Pat Burrell as a player. What are your thoughts on him as a hitting coach, and how much have you talked to him about kind of philosophies or things that might be?
Yeah, look, it's impressive, for a big-time player like him to do everything in the organization for a long period of time. And it's great that he knows a lot of these younger guys coming up, too. So we're excited about the hitting group, with JV2 and PD. I mean, that's a really good group. It feels like together. And Pat's done everything he can to not force himself in, but it's more about the group than one particular guy. I've said often it's important that you promote from within, and Pat's a guy within the organization, Garvin as well. So yeah, that was kind of an easy one after talking to him too, and kind of a different guy than when he played. He understands now too that, it's not about you, it's about the players, and you need to build relationship with these guys. There has to be trust. It doesn't hurt that he was a big-time player, and they look at the back of his baseball card, and it resonates with them. So a lot of good things to like about Pat.
Bob, when you were with the Padres, you worked with David Macias and Ryan Flaherty, and I'm curious what your experience was with them, and whether you think that the fact that they were college teammates added, to their.
Yeah, I've had plenty of Vanderbilt guys. I know that's where you're going with that. Whether it's Sonny Gray and Tony Kemp and, all those guys, the experiences they had in school kind of brings them closer together. It's a big-time place, and they're all proud of going there. So, I think it helped David more than anything to have Flash. Coming to the big leagues, not really knowing anybody on the staff, the players or anything, to have Flash, who was there for a period of time before that. So, all very students of the game. The skipper there is fantastic. He resonates with all the players that come out there. I had an opportunity to meet him last year. He was at the ballpark in San Diego for a day. So, when you look at college programs, that's one right at the top.
How do you see the center field situation, Bob? Because we've heard reports about the team having interest in names like Jung Ho Lee and Cody Bellinger. How do you see that situation right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have some guys that can play there, but it's no secret that that's one of the positions maybe we're looking to upgrade to get a little more athletic, a little bit more defensive-minded. Yaz does such a great job in right, and then Conforto and Hander can move around a little bit. Depending on the DH situation, can use guys there too. So I think middle of the diamond defense is always important. So that's one we're looking at pretty hard.
You mentioned that you need the needs of the ball hitter. Would you prefer lefty?
Sure, particular lefty, yeah, why not? Look, it really the Oracle plays different now than it did 3 years ago with the gateways. Being closed out there. It feels like there's a jet stream to left center field, even on nights when it feels like the wind's blowing in. It's 309 down the right field line, so if you pull it. So it's not the same ballpark it was a few years ago where you'd square one up at night, you didn't feel like it was going anywhere. There are a lot more home runs there now.
What do you know about Yamamoto as a pitcher? Have you seen tape on him? What's your feeling for him?
Look, it's really good. You watch the video and you can see why he puts up the numbers that he does. He looks like he's quite the competitor too. The split swing and miss, the heaters, upper 90s, curveballs, slow you down, speed you up. He's 25 years old. There are a lot of teams that are going to be in on him. So, he's one of those guys at the top of the market here, and probably until some of these guys sign, there probably not going to be a lot of movement. He's one of the top guys in the marketplace, and whoever gets him is going to be lucky to have him.
Yeah, Bob, unless I heard wrong, you said that San Francisco could maybe use some more star power.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, you had a lot of that with the Padres. So from all your time as a manager, is it possible to have too much quote-unquote star power? Do you need more role players?
Not necessarily. It just depends on the makeup. Look, in San Diego, the year before we went to the NLCS, my first year, last year was a disappointing season. So I don't think there's anything to make of a poor year and saying there's too much star power. They have some really good players there. Just didn't work out as well last year.
Right. So basically, as many good players as you can get is what matters.
Yeah, and I'm also big on incorporating I think everybody needs a role, and everybody needs to feel like they're part of it as well. It makes for a much better clubhouse. It makes, everybody feels like they're a part of it, and you gain a momentum. There's an enthusiasm to that. So I think there's a place for both.
Bob, you hired a pitching coach, Brian Price, who's said in a few different ways, guys, you're going to let him pitch. And Logan Webb from there said, I went down the laundry list, there's nothing to stop these guys from throwing 200 innings apiece. And, you work for Farhan Zaidi, his, they kind of babied Kyle Harrison almost too much last year in the minors. But you had Blake Snell. What's the philosophy of letting guys pitch 200 innings as a goal and versus babying them like maybe so many pitchers?
Right. Look, you have a lot of the top picks now. You have so much invested in them that you're careful with them to try to get to the big leagues. My first year, and Brian was my pitching coach in Seattle, we had 5 starters that all pitched 200 innings and never missed a start. I don't think that's happened since. You probably won't again. But that's the group that we had. So, look, if there's some guys that haven't, you get to the big leagues and you have to throw more than 100 innings, you're certainly not going to make somebody throw 200 innings. It's how you use them, what you think they're best suited to do, and you have to kind of map out the entire season to try to get the best out of them. When we had Jesus Luzardo, and I'm not saying this is the way some of these guys are going to be used, but when we had Jesus Luzardo in Oakland, we brought him up to the big leagues. He was pitching 5 innings in AAA. and we were kind of, how do we best use this guy to factor into the outcome of a game? So I remember his first game was Brett Anderson pitched 5 innings, and then he pitched the next 3. And we brought in our closer, and that's how we used Jesus the entire season. And I don't think we lost a game that we used him in that type of role. Now once he got his innings up, he went back to starting the next year. But depending on with younger guys, maybe there are ways to try to get creative to use them in, when potentially they factor into the outcome of a game.
What would a successful free agency look like for you when it's all said and done?
Look, you know what? I'm always going to tell you I'm fine with the team we have, so you don't want to get disappointed. I think the fact that we are shopping at the top of the market is pretty cool. How it plays out. There's only so many guys, and this year's free agent class, isn't extreme as far as the top end guys. So, shoot, if we get one at the top end, I'd be happy. If we don't, I'll be happy with the team we have, and maybe some add in, a little differently. Maybe not the top 2 or 3 guys.
There was some talk about when you were bringing in somebody who could maybe bring a little bit more pushback in terms of analytics, platoons, stuff like that. It's probably going to play out more on the field if it happens at all. But have there been any experiences so far?
Well, I spent 11 years, 10 plus years in Oakland, which is very analytic, and we did have. Billy Beane is great about encouraging pushback. So he always wants to try to get to the right place. So the traditional baseball guys who have played, the analytic guys, there's the right place to be, and that's the way Farhan is too here. Myself, Brian Price, Matt Williams, bringing in some coaches that might be a little bit more, I don't want to say old school, we're just old, and we've been doing this for a while. So I think you're always looking for the right balance, and I think Farhan, did this for a reason.
I've been asked this, but I'm curious. You worked with Mike Shilton, now he's getting his shot back after leaving the Cardinals. What did you make of what you saw in him, and how prepared do you think he is to be a manager?
Oh, he's ready. He was ready from the day he got let go. So we were lucky to have him in the organization, and for me, it was just a matter of time.
Maybe one more. You talk about your staff. You inherited some coaches, including Alyssa and Atkins. What's her role going to be? What's your association with her? And I think the first time you met her is when you went cross paths on the field.
I might have been the first one to congratulate her, and I was happy to be able to do that because I've followed the Giants. I've always followed the Giants, so I thought it was really cool that she was, broke ground like that. And she, yeah. And and getting to know her now and communicating with her, man, she's trying to make everything as easy on the coaching staff as possible, especially the guys that have just come, whether it's putting together with the analytic department, scheduling stuff. We're already talking about spring training, and that's a role that she's been part of and will be with us. She's just a great resource for especially the guys that haven't been here to kind of make them feel comfortable, and this is the way we do things here, put them in touch with the right people. She's on everything.
So she's helping the outfielders and the speed game.
Yeah.
The running game.
Yeah, and she'll continue to do that. Yeah.
Any other new roles?
We're until we actually get together as a group. We got, we've had a few here and there. We had a pitching little summit for a couple days at Papago, but we haven't had the entire staff together in person yet. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Oh yeah, well, she's pregnant, so I'm not sure what the timing of that's going to be.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.